Tonight, a deeper look at the reality of our country's border crisis. President-elect Trump plans to completely reshape the nation's immigration laws. Trump reportedly plans to zero in and focus on deporting immigrants who are committing crimes in this country. The issue of migrant crime has been one hot-button issue, with high-profile cases of U.S. citizens allegedly attacked and murdered by illegal immigrants taking center stage.
We have terrorists, we have violent criminals coming across the southern border who are raping and murdering Americans. Where is the justice for Rachel Moren? Where is the justice for Laken Riley?
Before Riley's murder, Ibarra had been arrested and released twice in the U.S., once when he was accused of crossing the border illegally in 2022, and then in New York City last year, when he was charged with acting in a manner to injure a child under 17.
Every fentanyl death in this country, that came across the southwest border, that's fueling the cartel. They have so much cash, and we're just giving them more right now.
The New York City Police Department says that the theft in this video is connected to a citywide robbery pattern. At least 7 migrants were arrested after a search warrant was executed at a home in the Bronx. NYPD says the suspects are a part of a criminal enterprise.
They say that the borders are safe. We live 1,800 miles away from the southern border. They're not safe. They're not safe. If you have a sanctuary city in your state, you're not safe.
I sat down with Tom Homan, the former acting ICE director and President-elect Donald Trump's border czar pick. He says he has a concrete plan for the incoming administration's effort to mass deport illegal immigrants.
Large deportations. We're going to get these people out.
What we're not going to do is support deploying the 101st Airborne into American cities to pull 10-year-old kids out of their classrooms in handcuffs.
Trump's been clear, we're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats first because they pose the most danger to this nation. Day one, we're going to be looking for these public safety threats, arresting them, detaining them, and deporting them. And if these sanctuary city mayors don't want to help, then get the hell out of the way because we're coming, we're doing it.
Venezuela, mamá. Venezuela? Sí. ¿Qué tantos años tienes? ¿Dos años?
Thank God she's alive, because too many of these young people perish. I don't know who put a 2-year-old in the hands of a criminal cartel to be smuggled across the border. It's so dangerous. I've seen so many tragedies in my lifetime. I've talked to young girls as young as 9 that were raped multiple times by members of the cartel. I stood in back of a tractor trailer with 19 dead aliens at my feet, including a 5-year-old little boy. They were all in their underwear because they were baking to death. And it all could be prevented if we secure the border. Secure the border saves lives.
Queríamos llegar a los Estados Unidos, ahora que Trump ganó, ahora no sabemos qué hacer.
No, ahorita creo que es mucho más complicado.
Pues no quiere a los latinos, no quiere a los mexicanos, y pues.
We see here that 300 plus were stopped with names matching known suspected terrorists on the watch list, 183,055 with criminal charges pending. Criminal convictions arrested by ICE, and 178,508 that were removed by ICE. So if that's how many are being stopped and caught, you got to wonder how many got away. And that's who's in the country. Where are these people now?
We have no idea. As far as the people, the gotaways, there's no footprint on these people, right? They weren't fingerprinted, they weren't vetted, there's no release documents. So these are people we're going to have a hard time finding, but we'll find them.
You recommended family separation.
I recommend zero tolerance.
How is this a politically driven thing? I don't understand.
It isn't. People say President Trump's policies are inhumane, they're racist, and it's just nothing further from the truth. I wake up every day pissed off with what this administration did to the most secure border in my lifetime. But thankfully, we got President Trump coming back, and we're going to secure the border once again to save lives.
The death of Rachel Moren, a Maryland mother of 5 who was brutally and senselessly murdered, allegedly by an illegal immigrant, already wanted for murder in El Salvador, sparked a national outrage. Rachel's mother, Patty Moren, testified before Congress begging for tighter borders, saying the man who took her daughter's life was wanted for killing a woman in his home country when he walked into ours.
Describe for people your daughter, Rachel. What type of a woman was she? What do you want people to know about her?
Rachel was probably 5 feet. So she was this tiny little girl physically, but she was a big presence when she walked into the room. She was very lively. Her whole countenance just shined. She had a very bad stuttering problem. Like when she was a little girl, she asked, "Mom, why did God make me like this?" And I said, "He must think that you're very special because he gave you this gift." So she took it as like, oh, this is my superpower. When she got older, she was very outgoing, very passionate about everything she did. I was in Kentucky. My grandbaby had just passed away from sudden infant death syndrome. We learned that morning that she had gone missing the day before. And then a couple hours later, my son called me and he said, "Mom, there's someone here to speak to you." And it was the lead detective. Says, "Mrs. Moren, there's no easy way to tell you this, but we found your daughter's body." And sorry. You don't expect to hear that that news. Like you think, when we heard she was missing, we thought, oh, this isn't good because this is not like Rachel. But we weren't expecting them to find her so quickly and that she was dead and that she had only gone a few feet from her car. It was just so devastating. In the beginning of the investigation, they actually didn't give us any details at all because they wanted to keep the integrity of the case like very secure. And then we got a fuller picture when they filed court documents. And that's when we knew that she was raped. He had grabbed her off the trail that she was on, dragged her through the woods. They said that her body was blanketed in bruises. There was like 10 to 15 head gashes, and that she was strangled. And then they stuffed her into a sewer pipe for the trail. And that's where they had found her that day. It's been a little over a year, and I still get nightmares. It's like as a mother, you just feel so bad for your child, but you also feel so helpless. I can't describe it. It's just very hard. It was probably the most devastating news that I've ever heard. I couldn't stand up. It was so much pain.
Your daughter Rachel had 5 children. How did you tell them that their mother had been killed?
They should have been following the DNA Fingerprint Act, and they should have been swabbing him. A $4 kit that takes 30 seconds that they never did. They literally grabbed him and said, "You shouldn't be here," and expelled him back to Mexico 3 times. He comes across the 4th time in February of 2023, goes to California and starts his crime spree in America.
What's it been like for you to see your daughter's face become part of a political issue? Money lessons can be hard-earned, especially when it comes to making the most of finances. Keeping all savings in one place may seem smart, but it doesn't allow money to grow effectively. Well, today's episode sponsor, Acorns, is here to help. Acorns is a financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you and your money goals. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you've got is spare change. It only takes 5 minutes to set up an account. So take that first small, simple step to getting your money back on track. Sign up now and join the over 13 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $22 billion with Acorns. Head to acorns.com/Dr. Phil or download the Acorns app to get started right now.
Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/Dr. Phil.
Well, I'm here with the mother of Rachel Moren and her attorney, Randolph Rice. Now, Patty, I'm so glad to meet you, but terribly sorry for the circumstance. I wish we were here talking about a million other things besides this. But I'm glad that you're using her life and not letting it be a complete tragedy with no purpose.
Thank you for having me. I don't want her loss to be wasted.
Yeah.
And I don't want our pain to be wasted.
Yeah.
I really want to save lives.
And this has been a terrible ordeal for you, I know. And thank you so much for being here to support her. How long was your daughter missing before you found out that she had been brutally murdered?
She went missing on a Saturday,
Right.
August 5th. But I didn't find out until the next day, Sunday. Her boyfriend reported her missing in late evening, and they did a search the next day on the trail where she grew up, and we walked as a family for over 20 years.
Yeah, this was the Maw Paw Trail.
Yes.
In Bel Air, Maryland. And like you say, you guys grew up on that trail, right? You
Yeah.
walked there and
Yep.
as a family.
Yep, every day after dinner. It was a way to get all the energy out of my kids so I could put them to bed.
Right. And when you got the call, take me through that moment.
Yes, I was in Kentucky still. We had lost a grandbaby that week. And Saturday, we had the burial, the gravesite. And then Sunday, we were going to head back from Kentucky when my son called and he said, "Mom, there's somebody here that wants to speak to you." And we had heard that Rachel had been missing. And he said, "There's no easy way to tell you this." Sorry. We found your daughter's body. And you know, if you know Rachel, you know that she's very scheduled. And you know something is wrong if she's not coming home. But then to have them say that they found her body, you know that she's not there. It's just her body. Thank you, sir. It was probably the most devastating news that I've ever heard. I couldn't stand up. It was so much pain.
Your daughter Rachel had 5 children. How did you tell them that their mother had been killed?
While I was in Kentucky, it was one of my sons, her brother, and the father of one of her children. They were a part of the search for her. And so when they heard the news, the fathers told their children what had happened to their mom.
How did they take this?
Depending on their age, they're 8 to 18. They're a year older now. But some couldn't grasp it, and I think it's because of shock. They just couldn't accept the fact that she was gone. Others didn't want to think about what had happened to their mom. And Rachel has a daughter that's on the autism spectrum. And Rachel was a very good mother. She was very good, especially in knowing how to minister to that particular daughter, to make her feel loved and valued and understood. And her daughter kept saying, "Where's my mom? I want my best friend back." And trying to explain to her that mom can't come back. She couldn't comprehend it. I don't know if she still comprehends that mom's not coming back.
And did you take the opportunity to view the body?
I did. When I had gotten back to Maryland, and they had kept the body for a couple of weeks to do whatever investigators needed to do. When it arrived at the funeral home, I went to look at the body to see if it would be presentable for the children to view it. We had a family-only funeral. We didn't invite public or anything. And so I can't tell you all the things, only just whatever has been made known publicly because the case hasn't gone to trial yet. But I can tell you that the state's attorney says it's the most gruesomest crime that they have ever seen in Harford County in all these years. And I can attest to the fact that it truly was just a horrible, horrible crime. To see somebody that you love and to see what has happened to them and imagining what they've suffered. It's like so heartbreaking, especially if you're a mom, because, you know, when I found out that she was missing, mother's first instinct is to go run to your child and hold them, and then to comfort them, and then to see my daughter there, and to know that we weren't there. And then, you know, you run through your mind those scenarios, well, if I was here, I could protect her, which we know that's probably not a likely thing, but so it was just really very hard to see her and to know what's actually happened to her.
You know, I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. I'm, of course, sorry that she went through that.